Alright everyone, I get paid to read the news, and to analyze the news. Therefore, I go through a hell of a lot of news articles. Of course, my forte tends to be political in nature, but some current events. Usually when they tie into politics, I'm trying to branch out into a little bit more non-political stuff because, I don't want to get burnout. I do like science news and stuff like that. I wish that I had more scientific news pages that aggregated shit from like university studies and stuff like that. Somebody link me in the DMs on Twitter, please, because I'm itching to branch out more. But one thing I've noticed is the incessant slow drip of news articles claiming that Joe Biden is being mistreated by the legacy media. So this video is effectively nothing more than an expose, a rebuttal of that basic claim. Point number one, we know that elements of the legacy media explicitly work with the White House, with the Biden administration and their people on economic messaging. We know this because the legacy media has openly avowed that it's doing so. We had Oliver Darcy at CNN, literally earlier this year, claim exactly that. That the White House had begun organizing and communicating with CNN and other major news groups in order to try to calm down the public to fool them into believing the economy was better than it is. And the proof is in the pudding. The writing is on the wall. Look at all of the economic articles that you see from the last week or so. How many of them are negative? Well, the ones that are from the groups that aren't being literally working with the White House. That's basically it. You get some criticism from Fox, the rest comes from independent media. MSNBC, CBS, NBC, all of the missing link media that leans left, like Vox, HuffPo, but they've been doing that forever anyway, so it's irrelevant. CNN, all of these others are working with the White House, and the trash that they spew out, some of the articles are almost self-refuting if you read the whole thing. All of it is hunky-dory positivity, wow, joblessness is low, inflation is falling, and all of these other lies and half-truths and misrepresentations of basic statistical data. That's because the legacy media shills for Biden. The concept that he's not getting enough credit for his wonderful economy, no. The point is his economy sucks, and you're trying not to discredit him because you're working directly with the White House. Now, that's some news groups, not all. Others are just ideologically tilted. Huffington Post does not require coordination with the White House to generally support whatever Joe Biden's doing at the time. Although they'd prefer to support a President AOC, probably. Vox does not require any payment or any organized effort to get them to report the same thing. Salon.com, The Atlantic, groups that are dedicatedly left-leaning to far left don't need any encouragement, so the White House doesn't even bother to talk to them. If anything, their strategy should be, now in the age of White House propaganda being explicit rather than implied, what they should do is pull back, pretend that they're moderating themselves so that the White House will send them an email. Give them some Doge or something. Hey, they could go mafioso. It'd be a shame if we started reporting the actual economic situation to our viewership. It'd be a real goddamn shame. They could make a lot of money doing that. They could shake down the White House, and Biden's so weak, probably it would work. Anyway, no, legacy media is not mistreating poor Biden. Well, they keep talking about how old he is. They should shut the fuck up about it. His opponent is almost as old as him. Yeah, almost a half a decade younger and still coherent, but apples to oranges, at least they're both still fruit. So, okay, yeah, it'll fly with the people with D's after their name. Well, Joe Biden's not getting enough credit in foreign policy. Yeah, I agree with you, actually. He doesn't get enough credit for leading to the situation where Ukraine was invaded again after a pause in fighting, the breakdown of diplomacy in the Korean Peninsula, warmongering over Taiwan, the outbreak of war in Gaza. No, he doesn't get enough credit for being the weak so-called leader, really the steward and puppet, of the Western sphere leading to these situations. I actually agree with the left. You're correct, just for the wrong reasons. Your analysis is completely wrong, but the basic summarization of events, yeah, Biden doesn't get enough credit for the shitty diplomatic situation that exists between West and East today. Absolutely. Well, Joe Biden doesn't get enough credit for his economy. Yeah, it's great that unemployment is low. That's the only positive metric that you have. Month after month, you keep adding more jobs, and yet unemployment doesn't budge. What does that tell you, genius? It tells you people are taking out second jobs. You can have more than one of them. You could end up with more jobs than you have people in the working age population. That doesn't point to a good economy, especially if there's still an unemployed chunk of the population. Of course, some of those people that are counted as employed, they simply dropped off the unemployment rolls because there were no jobs for them. Competition for a side hustle right now must be fierce. I mean, imagine, I got my, more or less, in the wake of Obamacare, 38-hour week job, but, I need groceries. I've got to eat, and I got to pay rent. I wish I could find something that's like, I don't know, an extra 10 hours a week or something. Scrape up a little bit more money. Scrape another couple $100 and I can make my rent. Oh shit, I can't find one. Well, I guess that I've got to get a credit card. People are literally doing that right now. Joe Biden doesn't get enough credit for having a good economy. No, he doesn't get enough disdain for breaking the economy. You see the messaging, for example, none of it fact-checked conveniently by the Legacymedia, with regards, for example, to gas prices. Gas prices today in the United States are considerably higher than when Joe Biden took office, even outpacing the Bidenflation, I believe, during that period of time. Yeah, he doesn't get enough credit for that. He doesn't get fact-checked by the Legacymedia when he puts out his shit. The only time he gets fact-checked is when people on Twitter make a community note. For what it's worth, and I've been restored to community notes, so all's well that ends well, water under the bridge. I try, I'm not going to make my own notes generally because it's just too pointless, but I'll rate other people's, I suppose, for what little it may be worth. For what it's worth, it's the only place that actual fact-checking is occurring now. I pointed out the other day, it was mysterious. The second that Joe Biden was sworn in, all of those tickers that would live fact-check the president's statements, they all went away. It's amazing. Snopes and groups like that, all of a sudden they were fact-checking far less once Biden got back into office. He's not being mistreated. He's being handled with kid gloves. They've circled the wagons around him for 2 years now because he keeps failing. He doesn't have any major foreign policy successes, not one, and a number of foreign policy disasters. We're waiting to see whether the Hamas hostage deal becomes one. Reporting on that this morning separately. We're waiting to see whether that even holds, the ceasefire, etc. We've got that. You have no economic victories. All of the so-called improvements that you have seen over the last roughly 6 months are just the amelioration of some of the damage that Biden already caused. It's damage from Bidenomics. He's been blaming everything but himself, too, and the Legacymedia never fact-checks him on that. It's Russia's fault that the gas prices were high. It was governors' faults that the lockdown damage happened, even though Biden was, whipping people up into a frenzy trying to support that shit. Everything is somebody else's fault. We went from the buck stops here to the fuck stops here. Biden doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He's not even really mentally competent, so, you can't blame him fully, because it's other people generally making the decisions. I say that he doesn't even get to determine what color underwear he wears on a daily basis. Jill does that for him. It's complete make-believe that the Legacymedia is anti-Biden. They're trying to stop him. They're trying to elect Trump. Yeah, really. Okay. That makes a whole lot of sense to anyone that's been alive for more than 5 years. That's about all. Peace out.